Hey, lovely ones. This is Karen Brinkley from Women Leading Women Australia, back to talk to you about how we can develop a new style of leadership for women. And, I get it. Executive women are very often service-centered leaders, and this is particularly true in the public sector. And so the idea of letting somebody down, whether or not it's our responsibility to help them, this is anathema to us. We inhale this sense of responsibility with the good girl principles of supporting, of fixing, of caring, of pleasing that we breathe in from our earliest days. Now, don't get me wrong, service-centered leadership is powerful, impactful, invaluable leadership. It's a leadership style that comes pretty easily to many women, and it often contributes to our effectiveness in developing our teams and achieving outcomes far beyond those that are immediately evident. But when we consistently put others' needs ahead of our own, we burn ourselves out and we burn our teams out. Yeah? When we consistently put others' urgencies ahead of our own priorities, it becomes impossible to achieve our own objectives in a reasonable time frame. And so we work longer and harder and tireder and with less effectiveness. It's a recipe for failure. When colleagues or clients or other stakeholders ask for urgent help that will disrupt your own priorities, you'll often know immediately whether that request is reasonably something that you should accommodate. You might recognize a pattern of your or your team's time and attention being taken for granted. You might mutter under your breath, "Oh, here we go again." Catch the eye rolls of your team members. What you perhaps won't notice is your adrenaline kicking in to deal with the urgent demand, the cortisol flooding your brain, your heart rate picking up along with your breathing, your system galvanizing to respond. This is how your body has learned to react to somebody else's unreasonable demand. It's a stress response that doesn't match the actual threat, but you've responded this way so many times, the neural pathway is dug deep. It can be hard to respond differently in that moment. So here's what I'd like you to try instead. When you first receive a request, an urgent request that's somebody else's urgent priority, I want you to pause and take it in. Just pause. You don't need to respond just yet. Even if you're in a situation in person, for example, that means you feel like you want to respond immediately, just try saying, "Let me think about that for a few minutes and come back to you." Just try that. Let me think about that for a few minutes and come back to you. Right there, you're buying yourself time and breathing space to check in with your own priorities. And after that, you have some options at your disposal, and you have the mental bandwidth and the emotional calm to explore them. And so one option might look like, yes, that supports my own objectives. I can see that by prioritizing what you need, I can meet my own priorities more easily. Awesome. It might look like, yes, I'm able to assist. However, I have some pressing priorities of my own that will compete with this for my attention. How can you help me achieve my objectives so I can help you achieve yours? Partnership, yeah? It might look like, yes, I'm happy to assist, but not yet. I have priorities I have to attend to first. I could give you what you need when those other priorities of mine are met. It might look like, thank you for thinking of me, but I'm unable to help. Perhaps you could try X, in which X is maybe an alternative person or an alternative strategy. But this is a suggestion from you, not a question for you. The responsibility for finding an alternative rests with the person asking, not with you. Don't take on, then, that additional responsibility of trying to fix it for them just because you can't deliver it for them. If it's your boss asking, it might look like, I can see this is important to you. Which of my current priorities would you like me to push back so I can take this on? You know what? It might also look like no. Now, as others have said before me, no is a complete sentence. It doesn't need explanation or apology. For some of us, it takes practice. And if it feels like you might struggle with saying no, then start by simply saying it to yourself quietly under your breath if you have to. No, no, no. Then start saying it louder. No. Get comfortable with that word, because if you're an executive woman, often feeling overwhelmed at work or at home, there's a good chance you're not saying it often enough. What I want to emphasize here is that none of these options is maybe. By all means, pause, buy yourself time to check in with yourself or with your team, but then decide yes, with whatever conditions need to be attached to the yes so that you can still fulfill your own priorities, or no. But don't prevaricate. Don't create this monkey weight of indecision for your own back. Don't create prolonged uncertainty for the other person. Pause and think about it, decide, and say it. Whether it's a lack of planning or some other circumstance that's caused an urgent request of you, it serves you and your team and your organization best if you can take the time and space to think before you respond. I have got no doubt you will nail it. Every good wish. See you next time. Bye.